Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
Students across Ohio University are wearing purple today. Good evening. I'm Sean Neidig.
And I'm Mackenzie Pyatt. Thanks for joining us. It's a part of Ohio Heroin Epidemic Awareness Day. Ohio University students, events have been held all day long in the Margaret Walter Hall Rotunda. Students across Ohio University are wearing purple today, and multiple speakers and panel discussions have taken place, with the night ending in a vigil for those affected by heroin use. In 2014, over 10,000 Americans died from heroin-related overdoses. The number tripled from 2010.
The main thing we dove into was that heroin doesn't have to be the stigma of, oh, they're an addict, they're a user, but it can affect everyone from a 40-year-old dad to just about anyone, yeah.
This is the event's first year, and organizers plan on holding it again next year.
Athens City Council members introduced a resolution yesterday opposing the construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline. The council's Dakota Pipeline resolution was drafted at the request of Athens residents. In September, activists protested the construction of the pipeline in front of the Athens County Courthouse. If built, the pipeline would run from North Dakota through South Dakota, Illinois, and Iowa, and it would transport more than 450 barrels of crude oil per day. A possible partnership between Athens residents and a home repair company was also brought up at the meeting last night. Historic Athens Church recently lost its tax exemption. Mount Zion Baptist Church now owes more than $10,000 in back taxes and penalties. It is the county's oldest African-American church. The taxes are a part of a lawsuit the Ohio Attorney General's office filed last week against Cindy Johnson. Allegedly, Johnson made filings without authority to allow a company she formed to take control of church property. County Auditor Jill Thompson said her office removed the exemption in 2014. However, the notice was never delivered because the office did not have an address. Despite this, a payment is still due on December 5th.
A former Boyd County Sheriff's deputy died on Sunday due to injuries he sustained in a car crash in Huntington last June. Philip Sloan's truck was hit by a drunk driver on June 29th, and he was hospitalized in critical condition. The driver of the other vehicle is now being charged with a DUI, resulting in death. A woman in Licking County is being sentenced to serve more than 7 years in prison after she confessed to lighting her house on fire while she and her children were still inside. Amy Wilson pleaded guilty to 6 charges, including 2 counts of aggravated arson for lighting 3 suspicious fires in an attempt to frame her estranged husband. The third fire trapped Wilson and her 3 daughters in an upstairs bathroom. All 4 people were rescued. The police were originally focused on Wilson's husband because she falsified incriminating text messages using prepaid phones.
Good evening and welcome to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm Chris Arbino. Well, it was an abnormally warm day out there today with temperatures surging into the mid-60s here across Athens. I know me and others, myself included, got out there and enjoyed the warm weather in shorts and a t-shirt. Taking a look at your temperatures right now, temperatures at Athens at 61 degrees with those winds out of the south at about 7 miles an hour. You can see that warm dew point at about 49 degrees. That's helping to keep us a little bit warmer for this time of the year, and our pressure at 29.79 inches of mercury. Taking a look at your temperatures around the region right now, Columbus, a cool spot at 58 degrees, Newark at 59, a little bit warmer to our south, Ironton at 64, Ripley at 64 as well. The rest of us holding steady right around 60 degrees. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rainfall that fell yesterday. Columbus really saw a substantial amount of rain, 0.36 inches of rain there in Columbus, and Athens saw a trace amount as well as Ironton. And looking at your hour by hour over tonight, increasing clouds around 3 a.m., and Sean, looking into 6 a.m., we'll see clouds increasing and maybe the threat of some showers and thunderstorms moving into our area.
All right, thanks a lot, Chris. Columbus law enforcement and officials are continuing to deal with the aftermath of the attack that took place yesterday on Ohio State University's campus. Today, police searched the attacker's home.
7 miles away from Ohio State's campus, law enforcement blanketed a West Columbus apartment complex less than an hour after the attack.
I have never seen anything like this before.
Get in the house and shut and lock the door and stay away from the windows.
This is just a video that I took when I first walked out.
Luann Carnahan was leaving to take her granddaughter to preschool when she realized an enormous police presence.
I was beside myself, really.
Law enforcement shut down an entire street as they began searching the apartment for clues as to how and why Abdul Razak Ali Artan attacked OSU, sending 11 people to the hospital.
I talk to that boy almost every day. Fairly decent person. I mean, he spoke when spoken to, had very nice mannerisms, wasn't rude, wasn't disrespectful.
But Monday night, that boy with nice mannerisms was dead as federal agents combed over the apartment he's believed to have lived in.
It sickens me. It sickens me very much so.
Representative Tim Clark spoke today and expressed his support for the victims of the attack. He also urged people to be patient and wait until the investigation is complete before making judgments.
Our thoughts and prayers go out to all of the families that are at Ohio State. I mean, this is just a tragic act in such a great town, such a great college campus. You know, just a few days after the great Ohio State-Michigan football rivalry, so that the whole state's still in shock about what happened. I think we got to let the investigation play out. Clearly it sounds like there was some rhetoric and some posts that point in the direction of something very nefarious, but I think we have to let the investigation play out.
3 of the 11 people that were hospitalized yesterday are still in the hospital, but all are expected to make full recoveries.
The mother of a 2-year-old girl who was starved and beaten to death is not eligible for the death penalty if convicted. Andrea Bradley is charged with the aggravated murder of her daughter, Glenara Bates. Bradley was found intellectually disabled, and the U.S. Supreme Court says executing people with intellectual disabilities violates the U.S. Constitution. Glenara's father, Glenn Bates, was convicted of aggravated murder and sentenced to death in October for his daughter's death. Bradley's trial begins in April.
Ohio State may have won this year's football game over Michigan, but Michigan won the annual blood battle between the two states put on by the American Red Cross. Michigan got 2,363 blood donations compared to Ohio's 2,355, so the traveling trophy will be heading north until next year. Traffic deaths this Thanksgiving season were down compared to last year, according to the Ohio State Highway Patrol. From Wednesday, November 23rd through Sunday, November 27th, 7 people were killed on Ohio roadways, down from 9 in 2015, 23 in 2014, and 17 in 2013. The patrol arrested 460 people this year for driving under the influence, 454 people for aggressive driving, and 1,322 people for not wearing their seatbelt.
And if you're doing any hunting this season, be careful about bringing whole deer or elk carcasses into Kentucky from states where chronic wasting disease is found. State officials say that people who illegally bring carcasses into Kentucky will be prosecuted. Chronic wasting disease is contagious and fatal disease that affects deer, elk, and similar animals, but there is no evidence that it can be transmitted to humans. The disease has been found in 24 states, including Ohio, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania. Kentucky is combining 8 boards into one committee as a way to save money. The committee is overseeing the state's construction sector and will be called the Housing, Buildings, and Construction Advisory Committee. Governor Matt Bevin also says that the committee will make it easier for the construction industry to function. Bevin says that the reorganization will save the state about $114,000 in administrative fees, plus $15,000 in per-day payments to members of the previous boards. Many have lost their homes due to the Tennessee wildfires that local authorities are struggling to control. And nearly 80 people died in a plane crash that had the Brazilian soccer team on board. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
The student body here at Ohio University absolutely is a family.
The students support one another.
You become this unit, this big, friendly family unit.
There's this connectedness.
You feel a part of something.
Driving in on the highway and just seeing the red bricks and the trees again, it's just like coming back home.
There's great students, great professors.
You just walk around campus and think, oh my gosh, I can't believe I go here.
I feel like I matter in the community, and I feel like I matter here at Ohio University.
It's home. Athens is home. I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, this is it. And she said, the tour's just started. I said, no, you don't understand. This is it.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like we're having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Brazil has declared 3 days of mourning after the plane carrying a Brazilian soccer team crashed in Colombia early Tuesday morning. 75 people are dead and only 5 survived. It isn't clear yet what caused the plane to crash. At least 19 players are among the dead and 21 journalists. 2 players and 2 crew members survived. The team, Chapecoense, was traveling to play in their league's championship game. The plane was given clearance to land before contact was lost with authorities on the ground.
There are no more survivors, so the final count is that 76 are deceased and 5 people who survived, and that's what we'll concentrate on now.
Local authorities rushed those found alive to local hospitals following the crash.
Wildfires in Tennessee have forced more than 14,000 people to leave their homes in Gatlinburg and Pigeon Ridge and destroyed more than 250 buildings. Mary Maloney reports.
Out-of-control wildfires forced thousands to flee. Some evacuees have to drive through the flames to get to safety.
This is crazy.
More than a dozen fires threaten the Great Smoky Mountains of eastern Tennessee. But instead of seeing the serene mountainside, people feel hot flames and stinging smoke being pushed by strong winds.
The power went out, so it was very dark. The smoke was so thick we couldn't breathe. Our eyes were stinging, so we just grabbed a blanket and took off running.
We just watched a building go down in flames to the right of us, and then we pulled in front of another building that wasn't on fire yet. But the fireman came and got us, and I don't know who he was, but I thank him so much.
The fires damaging or destroying homes and businesses.
Personally, I think I've lost my house, but, you know, things can be rebuilt.
It's difficult to go out into a community and try to protect and serve others when your own property and everything that you've worked for is burning down. But that's what these men and women have done for the last 24 hours.
As the firefighters fight the flames, those in shelters wonder what the fires will spare.
The things I've known probably don't exist anymore. I can just close my eyes and have that memory in my heart. Pray for us. That's the one thing I know that will work. God will take care of the rest.
I'm Mary Maloney reporting.
Pigeon Ridge native Dolly Parton released a statement about the fires, saying that she is heartbroken by the devastation and to pray for affected families and for the firefighters in the area. And on Wall Street today, here's a look at stocks of local interest. Many people are ending up in the hospital after prescription drugs are doing more to hurt them than help. That story is still ahead.
Well, it was a warm and sunny day today here in Athens, but is there a chance of thunderstorms and heavy rain for tomorrow? And is there a cool down behind that? I'll have your extended forecast right after this break.
professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like we're having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
The student body here at Ohio University absolutely is a family.
The students support one another.
You become this unit, this big, friendly family unit.
There's this connectedness.
You feel a part of something.
Driving in on the highway and just seeing the red bricks and the trees again, it's just like coming back home.
There's great students, great professors.
You just walk around campus and think, oh my gosh, I can't believe I go here.
I feel like I matter in the community, and I feel like I matter here at Ohio University.
It's home. Athens is home.
Welcome back to the Newswatch Weather Center here on the campus of Ohio University. I'm Chris Arbino. Well, today was a very nice day outside and actually a very unseasonably warm. As many of you might have noticed, temperatures here in late November right around 66 degrees today, and even right now we're still at 61 degrees. That's not really going to fall a whole lot tonight because you can see that dew point at 49 degrees really acting to insulate some of that heat into the atmosphere tonight. So going into tonight, it's really not going to get too cold overall. Right now in Athens, temperatures right around 61 degrees. Mainly, most of us here, Columbus at 58, Newark at 59, everyone holding steady right around 60 degrees going into this evening. So taking a look at your almanac right now, 66 was a high today. We really didn't come too close to that record of 75 set back in 1927. And looking at your low, we only found out about 50 degrees, our normal about 32. So really, maybe that low should have been a little bit cooler, but it wasn't a bad night overall. Temperatures for your overnight lows tonight, Athens at 55 degrees, Columbus at 50, 49 in Newark. You can see that we're at 61 and it's really not going to fall maybe another 5 or 6 degrees, and that's really going to be it for this evening. So taking a look at your precip cast, let's go ahead and figure out what's going on here. You can see the rain here building up across Mississippi, and actually this low pressure system is bringing a whole lot of modes of rain and snow up to our north, and then down here across Mississippi, actually a little bit of a tornado outbreak going on right there. But as we go into tomorrow, you're going to start to see the rain start to develop here coming into Ohio, and it's really going to have a northward component of motion. So see showers start to build from the north, or from the south to north rather. And then finally on Thursday, this will start to push out. Thursday, Friday actually look to be pretty nice days, but it will be a whole lot colder outside as that cold front passes. Tonight in Athens, 58 degrees, a warm night outside. We're going to see some rain starting to build up after midnight, and especially I would say after 2, maybe 3 o'clock is when we'll start to see the showers start to roll in. Tomorrow at your bus stop, a rainy start to your day tomorrow. Still warm outside, but you're going to need that umbrella as the rain is going to be in the air. Temperatures tomorrow, 65 degrees here in Athens, 66 in Ripley, 65 in Ironton. Maybe some showers and thunderstorms here, especially along the Ohio River there. So you expect to see some early showers and thunderstorms before that gives way, just some rain for the rest of the day. Tomorrow in Athens, 65 degrees, all day rain, and it's going to be staying warm. And then looking at your day planner, temperatures topping out around 63 degrees, and we're going to start to fall drastically after about 6 p.m. Temperatures around 51 degrees. And finally, looking at your 7-day forecast, rain looks to be a certainty tomorrow. And then behind that cold front, Thursday through Saturday, temperatures back in the 50s. But our next chance of rain looks to be Sunday through Tuesday. Temperatures back into the 40s and 50s, and our overnight lows down into the 30s. So the start of the work week next week looks to be a little bit wet, but it shouldn't be too bad outside.
Yeah, don't like the rain, but can't mind the temperatures. Thanks, Chris. As many as 48% of Americans are taking a prescription drug at any point. However, thousands of people are finding issues with certain drugs, and it's landing them in the hospital. Kim Hutcherson has more.
Dangerous interactions between medicines are sending an increasing number of Americans to the emergency room. That's according to a CDC study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association. Researchers examined data from over 42,000 ER visits in 2013 and 2014. They found that drug reactions sent 1 in every 250 Americans to the ER during that time. More than a quarter of those patients experienced effects so severe they had to be hospitalized. During the same time period, drug interactions accounted for 35% of ER visits among adults 65 and older. The last time drug reactions were studied, in 2005 and 2006, drug reactions only accounted for 26% of ER visits for that age group. Estimates indicate that 3 types of drugs led to nearly half of these ER visits. Blood thinners led to hemorrhages, antibiotics caused severe allergic reactions, and diabetes drugs caused hypoglycemia with neurological effects. The study's authors said healthcare professionals should be more careful about managing patients who take these kinds of drugs. For today's Health Minute, I'm Kim Hutcherson.
The study's authors encourage healthcare professionals to be more careful about what kind of medicines they give to patients, and they want patients to be aware of what kind of drugs they're actually taking.
This is Clark Wicks for Sports. After the break, find out which golf legend is making a return to the game after dealing with injuries for more than a year. Also, see which Bobcat made the cut and is headed to Alabama to play in the 66th annual Reese Senior Bowl at the end of the season. Stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Welcome back. I'm Clark Wicks. As the college football season comes to a close and the Bobcats prepare for their MAC championship game against the undefeated Western Michigan Broncos, senior Terrell Basham is preparing for the 2017 Reese Senior Bowl. The defensive end is one of 110 top seniors and fourth-year juniors to be selected to play in the game. Basham finished the season with 11 sacks and more than 14 tackles for loss. With week 12 of the NFL season and the Bobcats prepare for their MAC championship game against the undefeated Western Michigan Broncos. The defensive end is one of 100 and top 10 seniors and fourth-year juniors to be selected to play in the game. Basham finished with 11 sacks and more than 14 tackles for a loss. The senior led The senior Bobcat led the defensive line. Week 12 of the NFL season is in the books, and we are starting to get a glimpse of what the postseason might look like. This year's last night, Aaron Rodgers and the struggling Green Bay Packers picked up a crucial 27-13 win over a young Philadelphia Eagles team. Rodgers threw for over 300 yards and connected with wide receiver Davante Adams twice to bring the Packers within 2 games of the NFC North. The Packers' season got off to a slow 4-6 start that had many concerned they would not continue their 7-year streak of advancing to the playoffs. With 3 divisional matchups left in the season, every game is a must-win for Rodgers and the Packers. Now, although the football season is coming to a close, the hockey season is just starting to pick up. Despite a rough 2-1 shootout loss at the hands of the Florida Panthers on Saturday, the Columbus Blue Jackets season is getting off to a solid start. Through 20 games, the Blue Jackets sit at 5th place in their conference with an 11-5-4 record. For those of you who don't remember, this is a considerable improvement from their 7-13 start last season. With about a quarter of the season under their belts, the Jackets rank 4th in goals scored per game and 6th in goals allowed per game. The Blue Jackets host the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight at 7 in Nationwide Arena in Columbus, Ohio. Tiger Woods announced today that he plans on returning for the 2017 PGA Tour season. It will be Woods' first appearance in over a year as he's been recovering from back injuries. Many feared that Woods would never be able to play again due to the severeness of his injuries. Woods has won 14 career majors, which has him 4 off from Jack Nicklaus' all-time lead of 18. Woods is currently 40 and in the twilight of his career. If he is to gain any ground on Nicklaus, he must do so quickly. His first chance at a major will come April 6th through 9th at the Masters. A plane crash in Colombia claimed the lives of at least 71 individual passengers, including members of Brazilian Series soccer club team Chapecoense. Victims also include staff board members and journalists. The team was on their way to play in the first leg of their Copa Sudamérica fixture against Nacional. Chapecoense was the Cinderella team of Brazil, being in the 3rd division in just 2012. The club was on the way to play the biggest game in their history. In wake of the crash, the South American Soccer Federation suspended all activities. I'm Clark Wicks, and that's it for sports. Back to you, Mackenzie.
All right, thanks, Clark. In South Carolina, a dozen rescued sea turtles are being nursed back to health after being found in freezing Cape Cod waters on Sunday. The turtles were cold stunned, which is a condition similar to hypothermia. The turtles were flown from Boston to Charleston, where the Charleston Aquarium has a new sea turtle recovery center. The turtles were all given Star Wars names, including Luke and Leia. The smallest turtle is named Yoda. Recovery time could be anywhere from a few months to a year. Now let's send it over to Chris for a final look at weather.
All right, thanks, Mackenzie. Let's go ahead and take a final look at your day tomorrow. 65 degrees here in Athens, but a lot of rain, and I think it's going to be an all-day rain event, but it is going to be a little bit warm outside. Going ahead and taking a look at your hour-by-hour day planner for tomorrow, 61 at noon and 63 by 3 p.m. But notice here going into 6 o'clock, temperatures are going to start to drop very quickly behind that cold front. And then finally looking at your 7-day forecast, rain for tomorrow, but it will dry up at the beginning of our weekend. And then looking into the beginning of next week, some more rain in the forecast, but it looks to be more scattered showers. And we'll go ahead and send it back to the news desk with Mackenzie and Sean.
Thanks, Chris. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Mackenzie Pyatt.
And I'm Sean Knighty. Stay tuned for the PBS News Hour coming up next. Remember, you can find the latest news anytime, WOUB.org. And thanks to Chris Arbino for his final time doing weather. Have a great night, everyone.